Hello learners, today we are in week 6. Today's class we will be discussing philosophy, Indian philosophy. This is section 1 of week 6. In week 6 we will be taking up 3 sections. These sections will deal on philosophy, Indian philosophy, different schools of Indian philosophy. Then we will talk about Bhakti movement, Sufism, Christianity, Sikhism, Islam. So with these classes and discussion on philosophy, we will be covering up week 6. Today we begin with section 1. Let us start with what is philosophy. The word philosophy can be traced to the ancient Greek word philosophia, which means love of wisdom. Philosophy is a systematic study of basic ideas such as truth, existence, reality, freedom, thought and action, the universe and the role of the individual, the fundamental reason or cause of everything and the meaning of life. Let me give you an example. When there is a conversation between people, or when we are in conversation with persons, individuals, and if the other person talks about life, he or she talks about, reality, the truth, existence, and so on, we always say that this person is so philosophical. So this is what is meant by philosophy. When someone has a basic idea, or when someone talks about truth, existence, reality, freedom, thought, action, the role of the individual, the fundamental reason or cause of everything, and the meaning of life, that is the meaning of philosophy. And like I said, the word philosophy can be traced to the ancient Greek word philosophia, which means love of wisdom. Philosophy is constituted by studies in many areas like metaphysics. What is metaphysics? When we talk about metaphysics, it is pertaining to the nature of reality, existence, universe. And in a common man's language, in a layman's term, or in a layman's language, philosophy could be interpreted as the outlook towards life and its complexities. It may be that you believe in honesty, hard work, not hurting others, being kind to all, having respect for elders, in putting up a fight against social injustice. These values and beliefs form the philosophy of your life. So when you say what is the philosophy of your life, when you say what are your aims in life, then when you talk about your aims in life, what are your values, what are the beliefs that you, what are your values that you believe in, what are your beliefs in your life, then you would be talking about your beliefs in honesty, your belief in hard work, your belief in standing up against social injustice, fighting against social injustice, being kind to all, respect for elders, not hurting others. So these are the various values and beliefs which forms the philosophy of someone's life, and it could be the beliefs which forms the philosophy of your life. So this is what is meant by philosophy in a common man's language, or in layman's term. But when we talk about philosophy in metaphysics, with regard to metaphysics, it talks about the nature, it talks about reality, existing universe, and so on. When we talk about philosophy of life, when we talk about our values, when we talk about our value system, it is closely related to our values. Our philosophy of life, your philosophy of life is closely related to your values. The traditions that you follow are related to your religious beliefs. So when we talk about philosophy of life, your philosophy of life is very closely related to your values and the traditions that you follow, and these values, these traditions are also related to your religious beliefs. Indian philosophy refers to different philosophical traditions of the Indian subcontinent from about BC 15,000 and continuing into the century by individuals like Sri Aurobindo, Rabindranath Tagore, Mahatma Gandhi, Dr. S. Radhakrishnan, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Swami Vivekananda, Mother Teresa, J. Krishnamurti, among others. These include Hindu philosophy, Buddhist philosophy and Jain philosophy. So, when we talk about Indian philosophy, when we talk about the different philosophical traditions of the Indian subcontinent, it can be traced from about BC 1500 and continued into the 20th century, and we have very eminent philosopher thinkers or very eminent people, individual who practice philosophical ideas, who had major philosophical ideas about life. These were Sri Aurobindo, Rabindranath Tagore, Dr. S. Radhakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, Mother Teresa and so on. And when we talk about Indian philosophy, we are talking about philosophy which includes Hindu philosophy, then Buddhist philosophy and also Jain philosophy. At a broader level, it also includes Bhakti tradition, it also includes Sikhism, Sufism and reactions to the influence of Islam, Christianity, Zoroastrianism. We will be discussing these movements or these influences in section 3. However, at a broader level, let me inform you that when we talk about Indian philosophy, it includes Bhakti tradition, Sikhism, Sufism, reactions to the influence of Islam, Christianity and Zoroastrianism. Dharma, moksha, karma and atman are important concepts of Indian philosophy. So, let us discuss these one by one. What do you mean by dharma? Dharma refers to the cosmic order as a whole for which individuals have to perform their karma, that is action, duties. So when we talk about dharma, what is dharma? Dharma refers to the cosmic order as a whole for which individuals have to perform their karma, which is action or duties correctly. Karma refers to action or duty. Moksha is salvation. These concepts are to be analyzed scientifically, rationally and not accepted blindly. All these four concepts are interrelated. For example, the indiscriminate destruction of nature by man has led to an imbalance in nature which has created problems of global warming and unusual natural disasters. So, if man does not perform his or her duty, his action would lead to a repercussion. It would lead to what is called, bad things happening in his life. So one has to perform dharma correctly, one has to perform one's duty, and if you do your duty, if you perform your dharma with the correct action, then it will lead to what is called moksha, salvation. And since we have seen that a lot of environmental pollution or a lot of imbalances are in the world. So what is the cause for this? The belief is that since man has not performed his duties, karma, in preserving nature, there is an imbalance of nature and the cosmic whole dharma is affected. So, one can relate the imbalance, the global warming, what is happening around the world. The belief is that since man has not performed his karma, his duties, in preserving nature, there is an imbalance of nature and the whole cosmic world, that is dharma, is affected. So, what does a man do? A person is reborn to make amends for the wrong done in their earlier life. This brings us to the idea of sustainable development, which also takes on a spiritual dimension. It is believed that when we talk about Hindu philosophy, it is believed that if a man performs his karma properly and correctly, then he would be born in a better position. He would be born in a better. He would have a better status in his next life. But if a person does not perform his duties, his responsibility in his life, then he would be reborn as someone who is in a lower position, who has a lower status. So when we talk about dharma, which is the cosmic whole, if a man performs his duties properly, correctly, then the person would benefit, the person will be rewarded and reborn in a better position in his next life. The performance of duties correctly is an important value that is integral to the Indian philosophy. How can you perform your duties correctly? The Bhagavad Gita suggests that one should do the task, however small, it is with concentration, determination, fairness, honesty, with respect for each other, and always conscious of the reason for doing something in a particular way. So, what a person does is to do tasks, to perform responsibility, regardless of how rich or poor the person is. A poor person may perform his duty properly, regardless of how much he has, how poor he is, and so on. And a poor person may perform better than someone who is very rich. So, when we talk about performing duties, when we talk about being honest, being fair, respect for others, respect for other human lives, then there is no difference between a rich or a poor when we talk about someone performing his or her duties. It does not mean that a person who is rich, a person who is wealthy will perform better. There is no guarantee. So a person, whether he is poor, he does not have money, he can perform his duties properly, he can be honest, he can make the lives of others better in his own way. It is believed that each action has a positive or negative aspect, and the correctness or lack of correctness of the action would influence the future lives one is born into. Therefore, as you sow, so you reap. This is a very famous phrase. What you sow, what you perform now, what you do, so you will reap. Which means that if you do your duties, if you perform your actions correctly, if you perform positive actions, if you give out positive vibes, then you would reap beneficially. You would reap the fruits of your labor. If you work hard, then you would reap the fruit of your labor. This is what is meant by the phrase, as you sow, so you reap. The Bhagavad Gita also advises detachment from the results of the action taken, and thus advises carrying out duties without worrying about the results. This is a very important concept that we should follow. It means that when you perform certain things, when you perform certain action, when you perform a duty, for example, when you help others, when you help the needy, when you help the poor, you should not expect results that, if you help someone, you will be benefit from helping the others, or you should get some results because you have helped someone poor or needy. You have to do your action, you have to perform your action, your duties, without worrying about the results. Do your work, do it with satisfaction, without worrying about what benefits it will give you, without worrying about what the results would be. So when you perform your duty, when you perform action, it should not be with any expectation. It should be full of heart without expecting any results from your action, from the duties that you do. Likewise, when we talk about inculcating values, when we talk about inculcating good actions to be performed by students, the role of the teachers are very important, because in the beginning of our course I talked about how important is the role of teachers, because teachers play a significant role. They play a central role in the lives of students. So how can teachers motivate and encourage students to have better values, encourage and motivate students to perform better in terms of values? So teachers can encourage students to apply this value of detachment in their lives. Students can be asked to identify their most important duty to themselves, their family, their teacher, school, friend, country. As students, their primary duty is to study and perform well. If they concentrate in class, do their work regularly and learn, then automatically good results will follow. There is a greater need to reflect on their effort, concentration and performance and compete with themselves and not with others. So this is a very important value that teachers can encourage students. That is how to apply this value of detachment in their lives. Students should perform their duties. That is, one of the basic duties of student is to study and perform well, to concentrate in class, to be an obedient child to their parents, to be an obedient student to the teacher, and also perform all the duties, all the roles that is expected as a student in the school, and also be a good friend and also be a patriotic citizen of the country. And it is very important that the students should learn that if they perform the duties properly, if they perform and work hard, if they are honest, if they are determined to do their work properly, then good results will follow. And they should not think about competing with others. They should think about competing with themselves, because when there is that drive to compete with others, when there is this mad rush of trying to compete with others, then it would it would not be beneficial to the health, to the mental health, and also to the person's full potential. It may harm the growth of the person to reach his or her potential. So a student should perform her duty, and a competition should be among himself or herself rather than competing with others. When you concentrate too much on competing with others, it will harm you, it will affect your mental balance. So it is always better to perform your duties regardless of trying to compete with others and so on. What is the aim of Indian philosophy? We have talked about karma, we have talked about dharma, moksha and atman. What is the aim of Indian philosophy? Indian philosophy is often referred to as a darshana, which comes from the word drish, or to see. It is assumed that one who follows it should be able to see the truth and lead life in accordance with the truth perceived. Some of the Indian philosophical schools, that is Astic, believe in God, while the Gnostic schools of thought do not believe in God. Most of the Indian philosophy believes in the theory of karma. According to this theory, the results of actions, karma of this life and the past life direct the course of our life. Liberation is emancipation from the bondage of karma, which means that if you perform your duty well, if you perform your actions responsibility, then you will be liberated. Then, however, there are exceptions. The Charvaka school does not believe in karma and rebirth. Hence, the word dharma in India has a wide connotation. Emancipation from miseries and ignorance is the common pursuit of both darshan and dharma. There is a synergy between philosophy and religion. So when we talk about philosophy, what are the aims of philosophy? What are the philosophies that you follow in your life? Your philosophies, the philosophy that you follow in your life is interrelated to your religious beliefs. What are your aims? What are the background of philosophy is related to religion. So when we talk about moksha, salvation, Indian philosophy also seeks truth and knowledge, explains and upholds ethics, and thereby when we talk about Indian philosophy, when we talk about moksha, salvation, it is a source of morals and values to guide human life. Happiness is a key value, and Indian philosopher and Indian philosophy offers strategies to ensure happiness. Buddha suggested the Eightfold Path, which is the Astanga Marga, as solution for all worldly troubles, pains and sorrows. It talks about seeking liberation from vices, ignorance and 22 worldly miseries. Though Indian philosophy emphasizes the need for individual sadhana for liberating the mind, at the same time it seeks values enshrined in Indian philosophy. So when we talk about philosophy, aim of Indian philosophy, when we talk about values, then we have discussed about how philosophy is interrelated to your religious beliefs. We have talked about the concepts of karma, dharma, moksha and atma, and also we have talked about how the performance of one's karma would lead to a better life in the next birth. That is, certain Indian philosophical schools, certain Indian philosophies believe in the concept of rebirth. So in today's class we have discussed what is philosophy, we have discussed Indian philosophy and also the aim of Indian philosophy. So with this class we have completed section 1 of week 6. Thank you so much.